Hello YouTubers, Tross here, back playing some more Kerbal Space Program, and we left Valentina here in orbit last time, around the moon, and we're planning on heading back to Kerbin, because I don't think we have enough fuel to land. So, we have a burn all planned out here. So we're going to head backwards in the moon's orbit to get away, and that should leave us here and returning to Kerbin, including getting inside the atmosphere deep enough that we should land. Luckily, we'll be on the sunny side of Kerbin, so that will work out. We will have our burn in approximately 8 minutes. So we don't know what the burn length is, because for some reason when you load up a game, it forgets your thrust to weight ratio to be able to calculate that. I'm just gonna right click here. Or is it left click? Left click, and choose warp to next maneuver. Alright, this is probably going to be a 30-second burn or so. So I am going to start at 15 seconds, and wherever we finish, we finish. So we have just about 30 seconds. Anything else we can do while we're here? Let's EVA, crew report. We already got Midlands. That's board. I think we got all the science we could. Gotta remember to collect these. We'll do that once we are on our way back. We took some goo samples and some material-based samples. We didn't land, and I missed the burn completely because I'm talking. Nope. Come on. Hold on that SAS. Cut. And let's pull this back up. That's actually a little bit more than we wanted. I'm gonna get that back up to about 30. Oop. Trying to watch too many things at once. Make sure we're pointing in the right direction. Make sure we're thrusting. We want this about 37 or 38 kilometers up, because as we enter the atmosphere, we're going to drop it. We want it to drop to about 35 kilometers. I don't want it going too much lower than that. And of course I hit the wrong key. That's okay, we have fuel to spare. You can see we used 70 units of fuel, let's say, and we would have to make a landing with 100 units and lift off with about 100 units, or else we would have been in trouble. That's probably really good. So, we are on our way back to Kerbin. We are going to be dropping this off. You can see this is all empty of fuel. We only have fuel in these little canisters. Now, while they are pretty full, together we have only about 220 units. So like I said, we wouldn't have been able to land and return to orbit. So we're gonna EVA and get on our little rocket pack here. And we're gonna down. We need to collect this data and bring it back inside our spacecraft, because this bottom part of the craft is not going to be returning. How much closer do you need to be? There we go. Remove data. Oop, watch the door. Not collect data. Alright, we should have all the data now. Grab. And board. Alright, we got material study, goo. So one pair is the high altitude science, the other pair is the low altitude science. So I think we are all set. We are high over the moon. I didn't get that before? Pretty sure I did. Alright, we are all set to head back. So, let's time warp out of here. And we are leaving. Okay, I think we're about to... Yep, we just changed sphere of influence, so we're now approaching Kerbin. I'll say warp here. Okay. Actually, I did not need to collect the data out of these mystery goo containment units. Because they actually should be returning with us. We're gonna close that. We're gonna turn on SAS. Rotate this solar panel into the sun a bit more. Let's warp in a bit closer. And actually we may be getting a decent shot at getting close to the space center, because that's the desert there. Let's take a look. Alright, now we're gonna go way past it. We're gonna wind up in the ocean over here somewhere. Actually, we may actually even land near this land. I think we're good to go here. We're gonna decouple. We are on final approach here, so let's do that. And we're gonna head retrograde here, but still keep our one solar panel still somewhat facing the sun, and that will get our lander far enough away that it won't cause any trouble for us, potentially running into it. So let's head on in. That's a little correction here. We want to keep pointing our ablator, our heat shield, into the direction of travel. Ooh, little hiccup there. Alright, we're just about to hit the atmosphere, so let's correct again. There's the Space Center. And we're just hitting the atmosphere right above it. And yeah, we're a kilometer away from our other half. Let's go into free cam mode. Alright. We're getting some re-entry effects already, rather high up. We are going rather quickly, and we are on 1.04, so there have been a few new changes. Let's have gone deep enough into the atmosphere. I was thinking because we're rather light, we need to slow up a lot quicker than we are, but we're still heading down. It's just our orbit hasn't dropped quite as much as I thought it would. I thought we'd drop to at least 35. You can see our orbit has shrunk, but we are looking like we're going to come around again for another pass. Alright, we're getting up out of the atmosphere. So the slowing effect will be much reduced until we exit the atmosphere. We did slow up a bunch compared to that. And gonna pause right here for a moment. Alright, sorry about that. Got a phone call. usually try to put that on silent when I record. But here we are, where atmospheric effects have stopped, re-entry effects, and we're leaving the atmosphere here. We're slowing down, but not because we're slowing down. We're slowing down only because we're getting higher, trading kinetic energy for potential energy. Our orbit should not be decreasing. Alright. It is decreasing a little bit, but really... Oh, there it goes. It's pretty much stopped. And we are back into space. So we're going to take 43 minutes to get up here. 44 minutes. Means we're going to take twice that to get back here. Yeah, just about an hour and a half. Which means we actually have a better chance of landing near Kerbal Space Program. Kerbal Space Center. So let's warp here. And here we go. Out. And back. Hour and a half is a long time on Kerbin. I forget about that, because their day is only 6 hours. So, yeah, we don't have any much of a better chance. But I'm pretty sure we'll be landing this time. Our periapsis has dropped a bit, about a kilometer. But, yeah, we're going much slower now. We lost... Well, this is probably going to go up to 28, but we lost a good 400, and if we lose another 400, we'll be barely in orbit, so we'll be traveling through the atmosphere longer, so we'll probably lose more than 400 this time. Basically because the circle becomes tighter, so it intersects the atmosphere for a longer period. So, yeah, I don't even see the lander part anymore, probably because it didn't slow up as much, so it went on a much longer path, so it's far behind us. But we're right about to enter the atmosphere again. And our periapsis is over the desert, which is just ahead of us. So, here we go. How are you doing? Can't really see much. Why don't we fix that? There you go. Look at that. Something like that. Give you a good view. Not map view. Of course, solar panels aren't facing the sun anymore. So we are in the atmosphere. Any second now. Well, we got the re-entry effects about 55 last time. So we'll see about this time. May take longer because we're traveling slower now. But no, 53. And I have it angled slightly, so hopefully it will push us down a little more. Keep us in the atmosphere longer. Yeah, we're going about 28, 29, 2.8, 2.9 kilometers per second. We don't want this getting too far off and having us flip out of control. I think a good 10 degrees is good. Alright, we're approaching our periapsis. And we've slowed a bit. Really not as much as I had hoped. I'm guessing the atmosphere changed a bit again, and my previous estimates of saying a little higher than 35 was okay are no longer valid. Other than that, or I'm just used to returning from low Kerbin orbit and not returning from, say, the moon. Although this is starting to look better, but we're on our way out of the atmosphere. Unless this gets close soon, we're going to be leaving the atmosphere before that has a chance to completely collapse. We still are going faster than orbital speed, so that should mean we will be leaving and making orbit. Yeah, this is only going to get down to about, well, 150 or so, I'm guessing. It may not even hit 200. On the plus side, it's a much shorter orbit. We probably have 30 minutes to get back to periapsis or less. And there's the re-entry effects completely going away. We are probably going to get down to 2400 or so. Let's wait until we completely exit the atmosphere before we do a warp here. We did recharge though, so let's turn one more towards the sun there. Almost out of the atmosphere again. Alrighty. Let's warp here. Alright. We're gonna drop even further this time, and this should be our final time because we are basically just barely in orbit here. Alrighty, here we go. We should get re-entry effects soon. I'm gonna guess it's gonna be lower, maybe about 50 this time because we're going slower. Alright, that was 52-ish. Alright. Let's get that a little closer. Pretty much nothing to see right now. Probably gonna land over here somewhere. There's a little bit of land over there. That's... Wow, you can see I nosed us up a little to kind of raise our periapsis, and well, it's heading around. It's not being raised, but it is heading around. I'm gonna guess we're actually gonna fall short and land in the water there, seeing that that's dropping so quickly. We're down at 35 kilometers now. Yeah, there's no sign of that crater feature, so I'm thinking we're gonna fall short of it. Blader's being used up a lot more than it was in the previous versions. You could land previously and hardly use up 15 units, and we've used up almost a quarter of it with our 3 different dips into the atmosphere here. Yeah, we're gonna fall way short. Kinda see bits of it on the horizon now. Trying to now keep us a little higher so we stay in the atmosphere a little longer and slow down a little more. Alright. We're slowing down pretty good. We're at 10 kilometers up. We're still above the speed of sound, but we're dropping rapidly. Or dropping speed rapidly. Alright, we should be under the speed of sound now. And should be safe to open the parachute. We'll do that at 5 kilometers. Yeah, we're under 250 now. That should just slow us more. I'm going to turn off SAS at this point. 1 kilometer. Parachute's opening. Whoa, what happened there? Did not expect that at all. We should have been good. Why did the parachute open so slowly? Wow, I'm going to look into what happened there, and I'll see you guys all next time. Alright, here we are. This is our actually 4th pass through the atmosphere on this attempted landing. The way I ejected the lander part sent me up, raised my periapsis basically, and put us on this extra cautious, slow pass through the upper atmosphere. But we're finally slow enough that we're not going to enter into space again, so we are landing this time through, and I really think we are going to land safely this time. Before we entered the atmosphere, we tweaked the parachute, so instead of opening at 500 meters, it's going to open at 1.5 kilometers. And it seems like whatever atmosphere tweaks and parachute tweaks, or whatever tweaks they've done, the parachute opening at 500 no longer will slow you down quickly enough. In fact, the parachute never even fully opens before you hit the surface. Previously, like in 1.02, if it opened at 500, you'd basically come to a stop, or you're pretty good, gliding down parachute speed at maybe between 50 and 100 meters off the surface, so it maybe took 400 to 450 meters to open up, depending on your speed, but it would open up before you hit the surface if you had it opened at the default 500, and it seems that's no longer the case. Either the parachute doesn't slow you as much as it's opening, or it opens slower, or I'm not really sure what change occurred, but I'm having it open higher, so I'm going to pop it at 500 meters, 5 kilometers or so, which should be a safe speed. Safe altitude. We should be going at a safe speed. But we should then fully open at 1.5 kilometers, and maybe it takes 500 to 700 meters for it to open, but that should give us plenty of time to have it fully open before we hit the surface. Something in the sun there. I wonder if that's mid-miss, because there's the moon. Anyway, the sun is beginning to set. We've traveled so far. We're still going relatively fast, but we're pretty high. Looks like we will be landing on solid ground this time. I'm hoping we just land before the sun fully sets. We're starting to lose power because we can't generate it fast enough. But as we get vertical, that should fix. We're doing pretty good. We're going to be under 1 kilometer per second shortly. And we'll be way above 10 kilometers. It will be about 15 kilometers when that occurs. Which should mean by at least 7 kilometers you should be in a safe to open parachutes. And in fact, I didn't even notice they actually give you a warning. So I'm going to leave that up, and when we hit 250 it should definitely be safe. And it used to be about 300 you were good. Risky. Alright, looks like 250 is safe. I'm gonna pop the parachute now and see what happens. This will open at 1.5 kilometers above. I don't know what altitude that will be. I'm assuming it's relatively soon, seeing as we see trees on the surface. Alright, it's opening. I'll have to look back at the video, but it definitely looks like it does take longer. Like, maybe 1 kilometer would be safe. 1,500 seems to be good, though. I'm gonna time warp down. The sun is just setting. We are charging, though. It's gonna be hard to pick my shadow out here. Anyway, when we get close to about that tree, I'll turn off time warp. That looks pretty good. We should be safe. If anything, we'll lose the shield. But we lost nothing. Seeing that I did not realize the atmosphere had changed so much. And look at that, the sunset just after we landed. I'm gonna count this as what officially happened, and not the splashdown into the ocean. I basically just reloaded a save. We're still around. Basically, the save was at the beginning of the episode, so I had to do everything over. But hey, we recovered, and I wasn't expecting the atmosphere changes. At least not when I designed the craft. I kind of knew once we were around the moon that a new version was released, but there wasn't anything I could do to the craft then. Let's recover. We're probably going to get... Wow, we had gathered 383 science for now a total of just under 500. Lots of material study high over the moon, near the moon. Those got us some good science. We got some good EVA reports. We only got 45% value, but you know, it's better than being splattered across the ocean. And we got Valentina with 4 XP gained, advanced to level 1. Okay, well, that was quite an adventure. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.